Stop what you are doing. Stop. I do not speak to your rational mind, nor to your fear, nor to the part of you that still believes wealth is earned through sweat and tears. I speak to your soul that has always known. You were never made to struggle for money. You were made to speak to it. Money is not your master, not your opponent, not a finish line at the end of suffering. It is your obedient servant awaiting your command. When the tongue aligns with truth, money obeys, not slowly, not someday, not after merit has been proven, but instantly, with joy and without resistance. One sentence spoken with spiritual authority transforms scarcity into abundance. One sentence, when drenched in divine recognition, bends both the visible and the invisible. I say now with power, money is not my master, it is my obedient servant. This is not poetry, not metaphor. This is law, divine law, irrefutable, eternal, perfect, and it stands ready to work for you. Before we go deeper into this law, if you are ready to learn the spiritual principles that command wealth, subscribe to this channel now. This is not entertainment. This is training in divine dominion. Every video here is designed to elevate your consciousness and activate your authority over provision. Subscribe now and let this be the place where your financial reality transforms by the power of your spoken word. The law I speak of is older than your doubt, older than your bank account, older than fear itself. It is the law of the spoken word coupled with the law of instant manifestation. The moment the decree is pure, the moment the tone carries faith instead of fear, heaven responds. Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This is not suggestion. It is legal authority in the court of spirit. When a king speaks, the word becomes law. When a beggar speaks, the wind ignores him. Which voice do you wear when you speak of money? Do you murmur like a victim or decree like a victor? Money does not respond to hope. It responds to command. You may have tried visualizing, affirming, hoping, praying, but if your voice wavers, if your tone trembles, if your word dips into doubt, then all your declarations collapse like paper against steel. You must speak not to the problem, but into the atmosphere, as though the problem never existed. This is the great secret. You do not move money by describing its absence. You move it by announcing its position. Imagine a well-trained animal. It does not move because you need it to. It moves because you issued a clear, confident, consistent command. It hears the tone. It senses the posture. It recognizes the certainty. Money does too. If you say, "Please come," money will hesitate. If you say, "I do not know how," money will mirror your confusion. But when you say, "I command now," with heaven's conviction behind you, all creation hears and obeys. Say with me again, "Money is not my master. It is my obedient servant." Let the old theology crumble. Let the gospel of effort die. Let the law of divine alignment rise in you now. Now we speak the sentence, not as a mantra, not as a wish, not as an experiment, but as a verdict, as a spiritual decision enacted from the throne of dominion. The sentence is this: money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Let no one rush past these words. Let no seeker dare dilute their power. These are not poetic flourishes to entertain the mind. They are sacred instructions to command matter through spirit. For wealth is not a number, but a vibration. Not paper, but presence. Not earned, but declared. The tongue is the key, and this sentence turns the lock. Let me show you why this sentence works. First, it names money correctly. Not as a human master, not as an evil temptation, not as an idol to be feared, but as what it truly is, divine substance. It does not come from banks, not from bosses, not from clients, contracts, or economic conditions. It is divine. It is spiritual, born from the invisible realm of law, shaped by voice, and formed by the mold of consciousness. Until you call it divine, you will always fear it. Until you call it obedient, you will always chase it. Second, this sentence removes personification. You do not ask money how it feels. You do not wonder if it will cooperate. You do not shrink before its silence. You command it. You speak to it as a master speaks to a tool. You do not romanticize a hammer. You lift it and strike. So it is with money. You do not worship it. You direct it. And third, this sentence affirms spiritual control, not through emotion, not through desperation, not through tense pleading, but through clear, calm, unshakable authority. This is not theater. It is alignment. It is the tone of the soul that remembers who it is. You are not a hopeful taker in a long line at the gate of provision. You are the gate. You are the word that opens it. You are the voice that names the value, declares the time, and commands obedience. So now we practice, not just once, but with rhythm, with breath, with the stillness of law behind every word. Breathe fully. Let the air descend to the belly. For shallow breath is the signature of fear, but deep breath is the foundation of certainty. Now, on your next exhale, speak with me slowly and without apology. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. Again, money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. And once more, with every cell in agreement, with your inner court silent before your decree. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance, and you obey my voice. This is not performance. It is law. Not magic. It is mastery. Speak this daily. Speak before you look at numbers. Speak before you sign contracts. Speak before you check balances. Speak until the world bends. Speak until matter moves. Speak until the atmosphere shifts from surviving to surplus. Speak not as suggestion, but as the sentence that displaces all reality. Now I ask you, and I ask not as passive observer, but as active participant in divine dominion. Have you ever dared to speak to money as master, not as servant? Have you ever opened your mouth without apology, without doubt, without hesitation, and declared aloud with all authority that you are not waiting for wealth to like you, approve you, or slowly arrive in your account, but that it is you who commands it, who hosts it, who assigns it, and who multiplies it by decree? If yes, then this moment is your public declaration. Write below in the comments. Declare as you mean it. Say, I just gave money a command, not a wish, not a weak hope, a command. And if this ignited something in you, if the fire began to crackle in the corner of your soul, then return here daily, because this is not a one-time activation. It is vocal mastery training. This is how you become unshakable, undeniable, and unfailingly funded by the voice of truth. Let us now destroy the idol of hustle, the illusion of effort, the grinding myth that has worn saints to the bone and taught spiritual royalty to live like beggars. For too long, humanity has labored under the lie that money is made with sweat, that value must bleed from the forehead, that abundance is only conquered through sacrifice, exhaustion, and the brutal badge of effort. But I tell you, this is not divine law. It is human programming. This is not spiritual truth. It is carnal hypnosis. And you must decide today whether you will serve hustle or harmony, whether you will cling to the sweat-soaked creed of the world or step into the peaceful current of the kingdom, where money comes by decree, not by affliction, where wealth flows by vibration, not by calculation, where spiritual substance responds to voice, not to effort, not to schooling, not to experience, not to endless toil. We begin by replacing the language of slavery with the language of alignment. You will no longer say, I have to hustle, for hustle implies that wealth is elusive, that supply is suspicious, that money is hiding and must be hunted with brute force and anxious cunning. But money is not hiding, it is listening. Money is not a fugitive, it is a soldier awaiting instruction. So we say instead, I align. I harmonize with the current of divine flow. I enter rhythm with the law that governs increase. I move with the melody of spiritual abundance, and I let it carry me. When I speak in tune with truth, supply comes not with struggle, but with ease. You will no longer say, I earn. This phrase must be torn from your vocabulary like a weed from the garden. It is the chant of the spiritual amnesiac, the mantra of those who forgot that all things are freely given to the one who remembers their own inheritance. Replace immediately with, I align with it. Money is not earned. It is allowed. Not achieved. It is received. And it cannot find you if your speech betrays a consciousness of toil. You do not earn sunlight. You open the curtain. You do not earn gravity. You surrender to its pull. So it is with divine provision. You do not conquer it through labor. You receive it by law. And now I cancel every whisper, every inner echo, every generational sermon that said, money is hard. It is not. Money is obedient. Money is responsive. Money is malleable in the hands of the one who speaks with authority. Declare with me now. Money is obedient. I am the voice it obeys. Say again until your nervous system believes it, until your ancestors shout in your bloodstream, until every neural pathway that worshipped hard work is replaced with grace. Money is obedient. I am the voice it obeys. Visualize now. See, in fact, with your inner eye, a contract written in the old language of effort, written in sweat, fear, and exhaustion, written by your parents, your teachers, your childhood, signed in silence by your younger self. And now, in your imagination, I hand you the pen. I hand you the fire. Tear it, burn it, dissolve it in the presence of spiritual truth. Watch the ash of that false agreement drift away as you speak the new covenant. I now sign my name on ease. I now enter contract with abundance. I now decree that wealth comes not through suffering, but through spiritual symmetry. You are not a beast of burden. You are a commander. You are not a worker in the field of effort. You are the mouth of divine multiplication. Let the illusion of labor fall. Let the god of hustle die. Let your hands rest and your word rise. The great error of man is not in the desire for wealth, but in the posture before it. He speaks as one who seeks. He speaks as a foreigner. He speaks as one who knocks at a door he does not believe he has the right to open, and so his voice is weak, his words filled with tones of asking permission, his declarations end in question marks. And the substance of wealth, waiting like a soldier for instruction, hears no clear command, and therefore remains standing, unmoved, unassigned. But I tell you, elevate your consciousness now, for you were never made to speak as one who waits. You were born to speak as one who hosts divine provision. You are not a beggar before the gates of wealth. You are the gate. You are the voice. You are the mouth through which heaven invades matter. You are the sender, not the seeker. You are the decree, not the doubt. And so I give you the command. Speak not from hunger. Speak from heaven. Speak not as the mouth of your bank balance, but as the oracle of divine law. Say with me now, I no longer ask, I announce. Let this sentence grow in you until it changes your posture, until your shoulders rise, until your breath slows with certainty, until words stop trembling out of your mouth like requests and begin to roar from your soul like decisions. For your silence is not humility, it is delay. Your timidity is not holiness, it is disobedience to divine law. You were made in the image of a God who speaks galaxies into form. You were made in the image of a Christ who said to the storm, "Peace, be still," and the wind obeyed. And if you were made in that image, your voice must now reflect that same divine certainty. I challenge you now, not tomorrow, not after the next paycheck, not when the anxiety passes, but now to stop echoing the contents of your bank account and begin echoing the contents of the kingdom. Stop quoting your bills and start quoting your inheritance. Stop reporting lack and start reporting law. Stop praying like one trying to be chosen and start decreeing like one already crowned. The only difference between the one who remains broke and the one who multiplies wealth is not talent, not timing, not intelligence, but tone, authority, voice. One speaks as applicant, the other as appointee, and the substance of money does not move for applicants. It moves for appointers. Money does not respond to pleading. It responds to summoning. Money does not rise to requests. It rises to decisions. Say this with me now, not from theory, not from curiosity, but from the truth you feel now rising up your spine. I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. Say again, I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. And say again until your voice thickens, until the false humility breaks, until wealth consciousness settles into your tone. I am not applying for money. I am appointing it. You are not here to chase money. You are here to channel it. You are not here to beg for overflow. You are here to authorize its release. And every time you speak from source, the entire structure of the invisible bends to give form to what your voice has allowed. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. This is not delusion, it is dominion. And the world will tell you to be realistic. But I say, speak from revelation, for revelation is the only realism recognized in the kingdom. Stand up, lift your head, command with clear tones, speak from within the treasury of divine abundance, for you are not outside the gate. You are the one heaven appointed to open it with your voice. Now speak these words with me, not as one who repeats a mantra hoping to convince themselves, but as one who recognizes that the moment their tongue moves in rhythm with divine truth, the invisible forces of wealth, increase, and supernatural order rearrange themselves to obey, because divine law is not slow, not forgetful, not hypothetical. It is living, immediate, spiritual fire, and your voice is the match that lights the altar of manifestation. Stabilize your breath, lift your spirit, and say with full voltage, full faith, and full finality, money recognizes my voice. It does not hesitate when I speak, does not delay when I declare. It hears the frequency of faith woven into the fabric of my words, and it moves because I move, comes because I call, responds because I stopped whispering and started roaring. Money recognizes my voice because my voice is backed by law, and law is never ignored. Money is not confused by my instructions. It does not wait to be earned. It waits to be spoken, and I am speaking now. I speak as one in whom heaven trusts to govern gold. I command increase and it obeys. I do not suggest. I do not beg. I do not wait to be found one day by chance or by the pity of fate. No, I command it as rightful heir to all that is divine, as legally authorized spokesperson of abundance, as the voice that carries the echo of Eden's original design. I command increase. And because I have removed all tone of fear from my mouth, because I stopped asking the wind and started ordering the waves, it obeys. Not tomorrow, not eventually, but now. It obeys now. I am not chasing. I am choosing. I no longer run after opportunity breathless from desperation and shame. I sit in the seat of dominion and I choose what belongs to me. I choose what aligns with spiritual law. I choose overflow, not because I need it, but because I am the one appointed to distribute it with clean hands and commanding voice. I am not a spiritual orphan seeking crumbs. I am the beloved steward whose voice reshapes the treasury. My word governs my wealth, not the economy, not the algorithm, not the stock market, not the salary range, not the analyst's predictions, not the fears of my past. My word governs my wealth. It builds the structure. It directs the flow. It calls the numbers. It opens the vaults. It writes the checks. It multiplies what is and manifests what has not yet been seen. My word governs my wealth because my word is in alignment with divine law, and divine law never returns empty. Now speak these affirmations again, slowly, with truth, and with the boldness of one who knows. You are not repeating words, you are shifting reality. Now stop. Breathe. Let your soul catch up to the sound you just released, because this is no longer a theory you are entertaining, not a curiosity you are testing. This is now a spiritual engagement, a divine transaction, an invisible covenant forged between your word and your world, between what you declare and what dares to appear, between your mouth and the miracle it just magnetized. This is not just a video, and this is not just a teaching. This is an altar of agreement, and your voice is the offering placed upon it, burning with sacred fire, sending smoke signals to the invisible realms that one of God's own has remembered their power, remembered their law, remembered the ancient truth that their wealth is not out there waiting. It is in here, sleeping until their voice awakens it. So I ask you now, not as passive spectator, but as participant in divine dominion. Will you speak to money as master, not as servant? Will you open your mouth without apology, without doubt, without hesitation, and declare aloud with all authority that you are not waiting for wealth to like you, approve you, or slowly arrive in your account, but that it is you who commands it, who hosts it, who assigns it, and who multiplies it by decree? Have you ever treated your voice as the vault that it truly is, as the ignition key to the treasury of spirit? If yes, then this moment is your public declaration. Right below, declare in the comments as you mean it. Say, I just gave money a command, not a wish, not a weak hope, a command. Everything in the universe operates by law, invisible law, unstoppable law, infallible law. And the law I now bring to your soul is the law of divine agreement, the metaphysical principle that nothing comes into existence, nothing manifests, nothing becomes visible until it has been agreed upon in the invisible realm, until two forces, your word and divine truth, unite and say the same thing, until heaven and earth shake hands through the bridge of your voice, until the truth that always waits finds a voice bold enough to give it permission to become flesh. It is written, "If two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them." Matthew 18, verse 19. And while many believe this refers to two people agreeing in prayer, I tell you now with the full weight of spiritual law that the most potent agreement is not between two bodies, but between your outer voice and your inner belief, between what you speak aloud and what your subconscious echoes silently. Your word must not only be declared, but echoed in the silent chambers of your inner temple. You must not only speak prosperity with your lips, you must remove every whisper of contradiction from the basement of your soul. You must become the second witness to your own decree. The law of divine agreement demands that your inner world and outer world say the same thing. Your conscious command and your subconscious expectation must marry in truth, or the seed will not sprout, the vault will not open, the flow will not begin. Your doubt is not neutral. It is spiritual interference. Your hesitation is not harmless. It is a silent veto. And your fear is not passive. It is an unauthorized cosigner on the check of your life. So I ask you now, not with sentimentality, but with sacred urgency, with what have you been silently agreeing? Have you allowed the voice of fear to sit beside your affirmations and nod along? Have you declared increase aloud while secretly expecting delay? Have you said, "I receive" with your mouth, but said, "It will not happen" with the hidden script of the mind? You cannot serve two voices. You cannot water seeds of abundance while rehearsing in your mind the forecast of famine. The soil will vomit the contradiction. The spirit will not honor confusion. The law will not bend to divided declarations. You must agree inside and out, above and below, morning and night. Here then is the charge. Align your entire being to the truth you speak. Let no cell in your body disagree. Let no part of you remain loyal to lack. If you speak it, let your spine agree. Let your breath agree. Let your bank agree. Let your schedule agree. Let your gaze, your posture, and your expectation agree. And when that alignment is achieved, when the tuning fork of your spirit resonates without static, then heaven rushes to confirm, money rushes to appear, substance begins to gather, and what was spoken begins to shape itself around you. Invisible supply becoming tangible, undeniable, and irreversible. Now listen carefully, for this is the turning point where many fall back into the trap of visible facts. When they rehearse the numbers, they see instead of releasing the numbers they were called to create. When they describe lack with great precision, but forget they were never assigned to report appearance, they were anointed to reprogram it with the word, to override it with the decree, to treat the number not as fixed reality, but as servant to their vibration, a blank cipher awaiting instruction from a master consciousness, a mist in form waiting to be commanded into shape. If you have $7 in the account and say with trembling voice, "I only have $7, you just voted for stagnation. You stamped that value with permanence. You anointed it with power it never possessed because you did not speak to it. You spoke about it. And there is no spiritual authority in commentary, only in command. You must stop narrating the balance and start treating it as territory awaiting filling. You must say, "This account now receives divine increase. This number now multiplies under grace. This cipher now expands to match my spiritual inheritance." Do not say, "I hope it grows." Say, "I decree expansion now." Say, "Divine substance, fill this space." Say, "I assign wealth to this account." Say, "Money, obey my voice and pour yourself into this balance in perfect order with divine supply and visible confirmation." If you speak about the number, you give it power to reflect the past. But when you speak to the number, You authorize it to mirror your next reality. Let me tell you the truth that changed everything for a woman I once knew. She came to me with tears in her voice, panic in her breath, and a story that began with, "I only have 14 cents. That was the number in her account, 14 cents, and a wall of bills and a mountain of fear. But I did not console her in that number. I did not teach her to stretch it. I taught her to speak to it. I said, "You will bless that account. You will thank divine substance for its presence. You will not curse it. You will not describe it. You will command it." And she did. Every morning and every night she said, "These 14 cents now multiply under the law of spiritual substance. My account is filled with divine surplus. I do not count coins. I count on God." And on the third day came an unexpected check, unsolicited, a divine surprise. And her 14 became 4,000, and her voice became a vault, and her fear became praise. So I ask, will you be the next to stop describing and start decreeing? Will you open your banking app not with dread, but with dominion? Will you look at the number on the screen and remember that it is not the truth, it is the echo of past belief? Will you speak to it as a sculptor speaks to stone, not explaining what it is, but commanding what it will be? Will you say, "This number is now flooded with divine deposits. This balance now reflects heaven's mathematics. This cipher now bows to the law of my voice. I do not echo the number, I rewrite it." Money is not loyal to the past. It is loyal to your present decree. Speak not about what you see. Speak as one who owns the vaults of heaven. For your mouth is the manager of your money, and your word is the architect of your increase. And every number you see is merely a servant awaiting orders. So give orders. There is a secret root hidden beneath so many mouths that speak about money, an unseen vine of fear that wraps around the tongue and strangles the decree before it can take form. A fear not of lack, but of increase. Not of being broke, but of being blessed beyond measure. Not of having little, but of handling much. And this fear is subtle, clothed in spiritual-sounding language, disguised as humility, wrapped in generational guilt, inherited from voices that told you at some point that wealth was dangerous, too loud, too proud, too heavy to carry without slipping, that money would corrupt your soul or stain your innocence or turn your heart from God. And because of these silent imprints, you declared abundance with your mouth while fearing it with your nervous system. You wrote affirmations with your hand while cringing at judgment in your chest. You visualized abundance, but flinched at the image of yourself actually holding it. But hear me now deeply. Spirit never withholds increase from you. What withholds it is your hidden fear. And that fear is not holy, not virtuous, not protective. It is deception in disguise. It is sabotage dressed as caution. It is the inner saboteur posing as your conscience, whispering things like, "What if I cannot manage it? What if people envy me? What if I lose myself in the process?" But now let us speak fire to those lies. Let us cancel them with the breath of truth. For you are not a fraud in overflow. You are a steward of divine inheritance. You are not too unworthy. You are appointed to receive, multiply, and circulate good in the world. You are not too fragile for financial elevation. You are the exact vessel heaven shaped to carry surplus with spiritual strength and holy responsibility. Now say with me in rhythm and revelation, I erase the inner fear of wealth. I cancel the agreement with scarcity. I remove the shame that once wrapped itself around money. I am safe with abundance. I am trustworthy with overflow. I am called to carry riches with clarity, humility, and divine power. Speak again. Speak until the knots untie. Speak until your nervous system stops reacting. Speak until the body of your past finally bows to the authority of your voice. Now close your eyes for a moment and see with me. You standing before an enormous vault door, not locked, not guarded, but open, wide, silent, waiting for you, not to knock, but to step forward, not to ask permission, but to enter. You see stacks of divine provision, contracts, checks, houses, investments, opportunities, and instead of shrinking, you feel calm, grounded, upright. You do not run. You do not stutter. You do not hide. You speak. You say, I receive this. I was made for this. I do not panic in the presence of blessing. I steward it. I do not tremble before the treasury. I govern it. This is my birthright, and I no longer apologize for wearing it. Let that image become your new pattern. Let that feeling of peace in the presence of wealth become the new signature of your nervous system. Let that calm, clear, centered posture become your spiritual muscle memory, because you must know you were never made to be overwhelmed by overflow. You were made to be anchored in it. You were never made to fear large amounts. You were designed to assign them. You were never made to whisper around wealth. You were born to place it rightly with your voice, and therefore the fear must go, the guilt must dissolve, the shame must be washed in the river of truth. You are not a beggar who stumbled into blessing. You are a divine authority who finally remembered your inheritance. Now stand tall, breathe deep, and say aloud, Spirit trusts me with great sums. Heaven is not afraid of my wealth, and neither am I. I no longer fear the more, I manage it. I no longer fear the millions, I multiply them. I no longer fear the harvest, I gather it. In me, money finds its right place. In me, abundance is safe. There comes a moment when the soul must graduate from asking to commanding, from waiting to declaring, from tiptoeing around divine provision to speaking directly to it with the voice of one who has authority, not borrowed, not begged, not inherited from another human voice, but granted by spiritual law itself. Because money, beloved, does not obey need, it obeys voice. It does not move by desperation, it moves by declaration. And it does not rearrange itself by silence. It responds to the command of one who finally remembered their role as spiritual initiator, not material victim. This is the moment you stop calling yourself unlucky, where you stop apologizing for wanting more, where you stop rehearsing the story of not yet arrived, and instead stand upright in your God-given dominion and command the entrance, not as one who is deserving, but as one who is empowered by divine covenant. You must begin speaking to your income as you would speak to a room of employees who have fallen asleep on the job, not with anger, but with authority, not with fear, but with finality, not with doubt, but with a voice so clear it parts the atmosphere. You must say, I do not give money the option to not arrive. You must say, all channels are now open to me. Every divine encounter, every invisible avenue, every delayed opportunity, every pending contract, awaken now and obey my word. You must begin treating your spoken decree as spiritual payroll issuance, because heaven does not respond to your emotional frustration. It responds to your vibrational instruction. Speak now, not as one waiting for permission, not as one hoping for crumbs, but as one who stood before the throne of truth and heard these words, Ask, and it shall be given. Speak, and it shall be done. Decree, and it shall be established. This is not poetry, not metaphor. It is law. It is how the invisible moves to the visible. It is how spiritual energy becomes visible form. It is how divine substance becomes money in your account. But it will not come because you cried. It will not come because you feared. It will not come because you explained your need repeatedly. It will come because you finally understood the command structure of the kingdom, because you spoke not as passive receiver, but as priest of provision, as general of goodness, as steward of overflow, who does not stutter when ordering that which heaven already destined for them. So I ask you, and I do not ask gently, will you speak as though overflow is due to you by divine inheritance? Or will you continue speaking as one applying for a miracle instead of activating it? Will you speak with the confidence of covenant, or continue waiting for someday when your tone sounds right to God? Will you use your mouth as open wound or as spiritual invoice? Because I tell you, one carries pain, the other carries payment. One keeps you rehearsing lack, the other builds a ledger of increase. One delays what was already yours, while the other commands it into your hand. Now say with me, and do not whisper, Money, I command you now. Flow to me in divine order. Arrive in full supply. Manifest by spiritual law. I do not give you the option to not obey. I remove all resistance. I speak and you obey. I decree and you respond. My word is your master key. Say it again. I do not give money the option to not arrive. I no longer stutter. I no longer apologize. I no longer fear. I speak with the fire of divine authority, and the gates of wealth must open under my voice. Now breathe. Feel the shift in the air. Feel the atmosphere around you tremble in attention, because your decree just entered the files of spiritual instruction. And heaven is not confused by it, it is commanded by it. You did not speak poetry, you issued payroll. You did not just hope aloud, you exercised law. You did not play with sound, you pulled levers in the invisible. And now the income has no choice but to respond. Let the affirmations now rise, not just from your lips, but from your belly, from the throne room of your inner temple, from that sacred dimension where no fear breathes, where no past failure echoes, where no false authority holds post, where only truth reigns and only law governs, and where your voice is not passive instrument of feeling, but activated rod of command. Because when I say affirm these words, I do not mean whisper them like ritual. I mean thunder them through every cell of your being until your bones believe, until your breath adjusts to the frequency of wealth, until your bank account becomes irrelevant because you already moved in spiritual credit. Say now, I give money divine instruction. Not casual suggestion, not polite request, instruction. Divine instruction, backed by the authority of spirit, sent as sealed decree with fire and holiness, landing not in fantasy, but in invisible law, where it immediately begins reorganizing the energetic landscape of my reality. This is not fiction. It is how form bends to faith, how vibration becomes visible. Say, I magnetize wealth by my decree, not by strategy, not by effort, not by some new tactic that manipulates the external world, but by the decree that vibrates from divine alignment. Because wealth is not pulled by fear, it is magnetized by spiritual certainty. And your word is the magnet. Your tone is the force field. Your repetition is the current that calls supply from silence into substance. Now say, the invisible reorganizes at my command. And do not speak as though you are guessing. Speak as one who already stood at the edge of lack and shouted abundance into the void and watched it obey. Speak as one who faced delay and refused to blink. Speak as one who does not wait for the world to change, but whose word changes the world. And say this final phrase slowly, with fire and finality. My tongue is the lever that opens every vault. Not some vaults, not occasionally. Every vault, every gate, every door, every financial avenue, every client contract, every investment, every divine assignment marked with your name. Your tongue opens them because your tongue is not flesh and blood. It is spiritual weapon, legal key, architect tool, divine hammer. Your tongue opens what others think is locked because you were never made to beg at the gates of provision. You were always made to command them. Do you feel the rhythm, the current, the heat in your spine, the opening in your chest? This is not emotion. It is evidence. The shift is real. The reorganization has begun. The vault heard your voice. Now that the decree has been uttered, now that the tongue has been loosed in truth, now that the atmosphere has been pierced with the frequency of divine wealth, I ask you, will you return to silence or take your rightful place as one who speaks daily? Who trains the world to obey spiritual rhythm? Who does not beg heaven but aligns with it? Because this is not entertainment for the ear, it is battle for the voice. And if you leave here today with emotion stirred but mouth closed, then you did nothing but rehearse the pain of lack. But what if you take what you just spoke and repeat it tomorrow, and again the day after, and again when the voice of doubt returns, and again when the numbers in your account mock your faith? Then you will prove the truth that wealth does not belong to those who wait, but to those who instruct, that money does not cling to those who complain, but to those who command, and that divine substance responds not to need, not to logic, not to education or hustle, but to voice, consistent, holy, rhythmic voice. So I ask you now, not gently, but with fire, will you speak daily or continue waiting in silence? Will you train your atmosphere to obey or allow it? Once again, to train you to shrink? Will you be author of increase or victim of delay? If this voice you carry is sacred, and it is, then let the sacred be used daily, without hesitation, without apology, until the ground beneath you is no longer made of effort, but of answered decree, until money moves before you finish the sentence, until wealth appears because your mouth prepared the environment. There is a law, not hidden, but ignored, not invented by man, but embedded in the fabric of divine reality. And that law is this: what you speak already exists, and your voice does not create the supply. It reveals it. It pulls the veil. It does not summon what is not there. It opens the curtain on what was always prepared. This is the law of instant supply. And the world will try to tell you repeatedly that you must wait, that you must earn, that you must be deemed worthy, or climb step by step, or suffer enough tests until finally the breakthrough comes. But I tell you now, by the truth of spiritual law, that none of that is necessary. None of that is true. All of it is human illusion. And that the divine source was never in lack, never delayed, never rationed its substance, but waits silently and in fullness for the one who dares to speak in faith in the present tense, for the one who dares to say it is here before the exterior confirms, for the one who no longer consults the senses for permission, but moves in the rhythm of invisible truth and speaks to what the eye cannot yet verify. For it is written, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." Do you understand what this means? It means there is no delayed answer in the realm of spirit. It means your supply is faster than thought, swifter than mind, more immediate than logic will allow. It means that the moment your decree is uttered in full alignment with divine law, the thing already began moving in your direction. Or more precisely, it already stood at the door waiting for your voice to open the latch. You do not build the house, it was already built in heaven. You do not manufacture the supply, it was waiting for assignment. You do not beg the rain, you remove the umbrella. Your word does not invent the thing, it reveals it. Your decree does not force God's hand, it harmonizes with what God already wrote. And therefore, if you are waiting, if you are lacking, if you are still stuck in the cycle of when, the question is not when will it come, but when will I open my mouth as though it is already here? I have said before, and I will say again and again and again until your spirit burns with it. Money does not move by need, does not move by stress, does not move by good intentions or silent suffering. Money moves by law. Money moves by vibration. Money moves by instruction. And instruction is not thought, it is voice, it is sound. It is the alignment of breath, word, and spiritual rhythm declaring boldly, it is here. And the moment you dare declare it is here despite appearances, despite the balance, despite the fear. The moment you name the invisible as your reality, you open the floodgates. You do not ask the water to come. You remove the dam. You do not await a sign. You press the key. Your supply was always instant, and your word was always the only thing between silence and sound, between lack and overflow, between theory and possession. Speak not because you feel it, not because the room agrees, not because the numbers say yes. Speak because it is law. Speak because it is already done in the invisible. Speak because your silence expired, and your command is long overdue. The law does not need evidence. It only needs voice. You must now do the unthinkable, the illogical, the spiritually legal thing that most dare not do, not because it is difficult, but because it is so simple, it offends the rational mind. You must now declare it present, not hoped for, not prayed for in a posture of lack, not postponed to a day when conditions align. You must declare it present now. You must say this with your entire spirit, with the vibrational certainty of one who no longer gives space to delay, as one who is not bargaining with God, but harmonizing with divine law. And you must do it not once in desperation, but repeatedly in mastery. Not to prove something to the world, but to prove something to the soil of your own subconscious, which always awaits a voice of instruction and will obey whoever speaks most consistently. When you say, "I do not wait for money, money waits for my word," you separate yourself from the outdated timeline of toil and trigger the immediate unfolding of spiritual substance into form. When you say it arrives now, not by anxious wish, but by spiritual knowing, you align to the frequency that collapses the illusion of time and removes the veil between what is prepared in heaven and what is ready for reception on earth. You are not waiting. You are commanding. You are not hoping. You are claiming. You are not stuck. You are silent. And silence is the only remaining curse. You must decide now whether your tongue will serve the past or establish the future, whether your voice will echo your fear or shape your fortune. And I tell you with boldness, with sacred fire, declare the present. The invisible is not far, it is here. It is not sleeping, it is responsive. The moment your words match its frequency, the moment your decree stops reporting your condition and begins reporting the divine conclusion, the material must obey, because the material is not your source, it is your servant. And it cannot resist spiritual command when that command is spoken without compromise, without hesitation, without excuse. Stop saying, I need it to come. Say, it is here. Stop checking accounts. Start checking your tone. Start watching your wording. Start noticing whether you are narrating delay or declaring dominion. Begin every sentence as though the vault is open. Walk through the room as though the check already cleared. Sit at the table as though your name is already on the door. And speak to the invisible with rhythm so steady it has no choice but to take form. Here is your divine formula. Use it until it becomes breath, until it becomes rhythm, until it becomes the melody of your being. I do not wait for money. Money waits for my word. My decree moves divine supply. My tone carries God's wealth. My sentence is wealth's instruction, and I speak as one who holds the word by law. Say until it replaces every worn script. Say until the room agrees. Say until the atmosphere trembles. Say until your bank account aligns. Say until your nervous system calms. Say until your house knows the sound of spiritual certainty. Because it is not the thing that moves first. It is your voice. And when your voice moves, when your word establishes, when your decree stands firm, substance has no option but to materialize. Do not delay your declarations. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait for better circumstances. You are not a reporter of your bank statement. You are the author of your spiritual account. Declare the shift, declare now, and do not look back. Now we return to the final thread that has silently sewn itself into your spiritual garment, invisible but destructive, woven into the very lining of your identity, the language of delay, the subtle phrases, the innocent-sounding sentences, the culturally accepted murmurs that flow from the mouth like water but act like glue. One day, I will be rich. It has not arrived yet. Maybe it is not my time. If it is meant to be, it will come. These are not neutral phrases. They are not harmless expressions. They are unconscious agreements with stagnation. They are contracts with the fallen world's timeline. They are veiled refusals to activate the law of now. And every time you speak one of these delay scripts, you extend the distance between your decree and your delivery. Not because the substance is not ready, but because your voice is holding the manifestation in spiritual quarantine. Quarantined by caution, quarantined by fear of disappointment, quarantined by learned helplessness that wore the mask of humility. You must cancel them now, must cast out these demons of later by name, by breath, by tone, by fire. Must say, I cancel every phrase that agreed with later. I revoke every sentence that allowed delay to take root in the garden of my subconscious. I pour out every whisper that told me to wait my turn. Lower my expectations. Temper my decree with worldly realism. I purify my tongue of every word that acted as doorstop in the door of divine speed. Yes, you must purify the mouth before claiming the mansion, must purify the wording before commanding provision, and must realize that every time you casually postpone your prosperity with a phrase beginning with one day, hopefully, when it finally happens, you are pushing away the very supply trying to land in your present. Instead, speak like this. This is my time of immediate response. Speak. What I speak appears now. Speak. Divine wealth has already arrived, and I am the one who declares it visible. Speak. Delay is no longer my doctrine. I believe in now. Speak. I no longer wait mentally for that which is already spiritually available. Speak until the old language system breaks, collapses, burns, and melts into the new architecture of divine immediacy. Visualize this. Your tongue dipped in golden oil, anointed for command, coated in light, slippery with speed, sliding through dimensions of supply that open only to those who no longer flirt with later, who no longer consult appearances, who no longer budget faith to please logic. See your tongue as a flaming rod, cauterizing every phrase that once seduced you to delay. Let it be done. Let it end. Let it be purified. From this moment forward, you speak from the kingdom of now. You speak as one who governs time, not as one who negotiates with it. You do not speak as one who wonders if it is your moment, but as one who declares that it is. Do not let your mouth be a museum of old beliefs. Do not let your tone carry the hesitation of the orphaned past. Let your voice be anointed again, tuned to the frequency of already done. Let every word you speak be pregnant with the vibration of immediacy. And let your sentence be law. Now that the poison of delay has been purged from your mouth and memory, you are ready to speak not just the presence of wealth, but the movement of wealth. For money does not exist only to be seen, saved, or stored. It exists to circulate, to move, to multiply through movement, to reflect the nature of spirit itself, which never stagnates, never hoards, never hesitates. Divine substance is not a lake, it is a river. And until you command it to move, it remains still, not by limitation, but by your own silence. You must rise now in your role as commander of the current, as the voice that calls circulation into existence. You must not speak about flow. You must speak to flow. You must not wonder if wealth will arrive. You must direct it as Moses lifted the rod to open the Red Sea, not asking the waters to gently move, but commanding their obedience with the vibration of faith backed by divine assignment. Speak now, money flow in rivers, not in drops, not in delays, not in trickles, not in crumbs, but in continuous, confident, cascading rivers of ease and multiplication. Say again, money flow in rivers. And again, money flow in rivers. For the tongue is not just the organ of speech, it is the rudder of your wealth, the captain of your circulation, the baton of your financial orchestra. Do you not know that your accounts obey your instructions? That your clients, customers, and contracts are invisible servants awaiting assignment to a task? Do you not see that your bank balance does not wait for your labor, but for your legislation? That every deposit begins with a decree? That every increase begins with a voice that dares to vibrate higher than fear, higher than forecast, higher than the financial history that tried to train your tongue to be polite when it should be prophetic? So I ask you, will you train your voice to carry current or continue to echo the economy? Will you declare your divine flow or merely describe your financial drought? Will you speak in movement or mentally rehearse immobility and call it being realistic? This is the dividing line, beloved. This is the moment your mouth becomes either the faucet or the filter, either the loudspeaker of currents or the petitioner of sympathy. Speak. I move the market with my mouth. Yes, say again. I move the market with my mouth, not by manipulation, not only by strategy, but by spiritual alignment. For when your speech corresponds to divine substance, when your command is uttered with clean motive and consecrated boldness, money hears you not just as person, but as principle, not just as voice, but as vortex of authority. You are the one the flow waited for. You are the mouth of spiritual liquidity. You are not the bucket begging for rain. You are the cloud releasing overflow. So speak circulation as command, not suggestion. Do not narrate your way to lack. Do not comment on your constriction. Stand in the middle of the dam and break it with your word. Break it with your breath. Break it with your tone. Say, I speak flow now. I speak movement now. I speak financial rivers now. And do not say just once. Say daily. Say hourly. Say until your subconscious becomes fluent in liquidity. Until your spirit no longer entertains the voice of scarcity. Until your entire vibration becomes synonymous with movement, flow, and increase. This is the moment you become the stream itself. Now speak these words with me, not as one who repeats a mantra, hoping to convince themselves, but as one who recognizes that the moment their tongue moves in rhythm with divine truth, the invisible forces of wealth, increase, and supernatural order rearrange themselves to obey. Because divine law is not slow, not forgetful, not hypothetical. It is living, immediate, spiritual fire, and your voice is the match that lights the altar of manifestation. Stabilize your breath, lift your spirit, and say with full voltage, full faith, and full finality, I am funded by divine decree. Not whisper this. Let it pass through your vocal cords like thunder wrapped in velvet. Let it shake your cells. Let it undo every old agreement you made with scarcity. Say again, I am funded by divine decree. And now this, my command is clear and the supply obeys. Speak as the architect of your next miracle, as the commander of your next contract, as the priest of your own inner treasury. For clarity is not luxury in the spiritual realm, it is currency. Confused speech creates confused results, but clear decree reorganizes reality. Speak, my command is clear and the supply obeys. Let the memory of every past doubt dissolve in the vibration of that sentence. Let it echo through every timeline where you ever questioned whether you were worthy, whether you were allowed, whether you needed to suffer first. Let this sentence rewrite those timelines with sovereign sound. Now speak this. I am the voice of wealth alignment. Let it break the sound barrier between you and your provision. Let it go before you into every meeting, every inbox, every door not yet opened. Let it fill the atmosphere around your business, your brand, your bank. You are not applying to be blessed. You are announcing your alignment. You are not wishing for overflow. You are releasing it through sound. Speak again. I am the voice of wealth alignment. And now, with the boldness of the lion and the rhythm of heaven's own declaration, close with this. The spiritual economy hears me when I speak. Yes, let that be the final affirmation of this round. Let it enter your bones, your breath, your bloodstream. For this is not an economic cycle you are accessing. It is a spiritual inheritance that responds to your voice and your voice alone. Not your resume, not your worry, not your weight, your word. Say again, the spiritual economy hears me when I speak. Now I turn to you, not to your doubts, not to your past, not to your fears, not to your bank balance or budget spreadsheet or anxious timeline. I turn to you, the spiritual listener, the one who has carried the seed of dominion in your womb, but forgot it only blooms through sound. This is the moment where theory ends and transaction begins. Not transaction of money, but of energy, commitment, and mastery. You heard the law, you felt the shift, you tasted the vibration of wealth responding to your tone. But now comes the true invitation, the sacred threshold that separates those who watch and wait from those who rise and speak. And I ask you, soul to soul, spirit to spirit, command to command, has your instruction gone forth, or did it remain trapped inside you, hidden in the folds of fear and hesitation? Did you simply hear these words and feel them silently? Or did you rise in your own voice as prophet of your own house, as governor of your own land, as king of your own kingdom? Because nothing changes until your mouth changes. Nothing rearranges until your tone is heard in the corridors of spiritual order. The universe does not move by your mood. It moves by your mouth. So I call you forth now, not softly, not sweetly, but divinely. Comment below and let the world, the spirit, the system, and the invisible forces that obey law and not luck know that your silence is over. Speak in writing, speak aloud. Speak to your own hand, wallet, or account if you must. But speak and declare, I govern money by divine voice. This is not a slogan, not a hashtag. It is a sacred legal declaration. It is the record you cast into the atmosphere that does not return empty. Write it now in the comments. I govern money by divine voice. And if you were moved, touched, or activated by this divine transmission, do not vanish again into silence. Subscribe, not because I am asking, but because your spiritual atmosphere must be sustained. You do not visit vibration, you inhabit it. You do not attend mastery, you become mastery. This is not entertainment, it is recreation. It is the architecture of wealth built one spoken decree at a time, across days, weeks, and months, until your entire life becomes the visible fruit of invisible obedience. This is your sacred invitation, not to watch again, but to speak as one who commands again and again and again, until the mountain moves, the check clears, the deal signs, and the floodgates of overflow stop being theory and become form. Now we arrive at the sacred seal, the final activation, the ultimate vibration, the moment where every word that came before is made flesh by the decree of your own tongue. Because without your voice, none of this means anything. Without sound, this is only theory. And I did not come to deliver theory. I came to awaken the law in your bones, to strike the match of dominion in your mouth, to remind you that you are not the echo of your circumstances, but the echo of the voice of God made flesh and crowned with spiritual authority. And you, beloved soul, are not here to beg for wealth. You are not here to ask for an advance. You are not here to negotiate with appearances. You are here to declare, govern, assign, command, and speak as one who was sent, appointed and anointed by divine law itself. So I ask you now, slow your breath, steady your spirit, relax your jaw, and feel the throne beneath your ribs rise to meet your voice, because you are about to speak not as personality, but as principle, not as person, but as portal, not as worker of the world, but as word in the world sent to rearrange matter by the authority of the invisible. And when you say this sentence, do not say it as hope, not as chant, not as wish. Say it as command backed by the military force of heaven, as royal edict sent with angels on assignment, as spiritual memorandum that cannot return empty. Speak with me now. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance and you obey my voice. Again, slower, louder, clearer, as though every molecule in the atmosphere is listening to the vibration that will make it move. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance and you obey my voice. And one more time with shoulders back, head lifted, and energy anchored in dominion. Money, I now speak to you. You are divine substance and you obey my voice. Now we layer with variations that reinforce spiritual specificity. And these you can speak morning and night, standing or sitting, in whisper or in shout, because tone is more important than volume and conviction more vital than noise. Say now, money, I now speak to you. Come now, say, money, I now speak to you. Expand without resistance. Say, money, I now speak to you. Multiply under grace and in perfect ways. And now, beloved, we close where the highest vibration always closes, with a decree not of fear or frenzy, but of spiritual calm, the posture of one who spoke and knows that what was spoken must appear. Speak, my word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. Again, my word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. One final time, my word is law, my wealth obeys, my time is now. Let that sound in your bones. Let it root in your subconscious. Let it overwrite every whisper of scarcity, every echo of delay, every remaining script of unworthiness. Let this be the moment your tongue becomes the key that opens every vault, the rod that parts every sea, the staff that turns stone into fountain. This is not just a closing, it is your coronation. Speak the sentence daily, not as ritual, but as royalty. Write it, sing it, declare it, whisper it, shout it, live it. Because now you know. One sentence makes money respond instantly. Not because the sentence is magic, but because the law behind it is eternal. And the voice that dares to speak it becomes the cause of all increase. You are that voice. You are that cause.